In the mid-18th century, Britain and France were powerful empires and old rivals. They competed for land, trade, and influence globally. North America was a major collision point. Both had colonies there and wanted to expand. This created an unstable situation, like a powder keg. The French had a vast, thinly populated territory from Canada to Louisiana, built on the fur trade. They had strong alliances with Native American tribes. The British had densely populated colonies along the Atlantic coast. British colonists wanted to move west for new land. This ambition clashed with French claims. Control of North America meant control of rich resources like furs, timber, and fisheries. Both nations understood the strategic importance of the continent. Dominance in North America would boost their global standing. Frequent smaller conflicts marked this period. These often involved colonial forces and Native American allies. The French and Indian War was part of a larger global struggle, the 7 Years' War. The outcome would reshape empires and change lives on multiple continents. It set in motion events that no one could have fully predicted. The stage was set for a major confrontation. Tensions were building towards something much larger. The powder keg was ready to explode. The Ohio River Valley became the main point of contention. It was rich in resources, especially for the fur trade. Both the French and British claimed ownership. The French built forts and trading posts to secure their claim. British colonists saw it as essential for expansion. Land speculators formed companies to claim and sell tracts. Settlers sought new opportunities and farmland. The British government supported these ambitions. Native American tribes were caught in the middle. They tried to play the European powers against each other. Some allied with the French, others with the British. The French built new forts to block British expansion. The British responded by sending expeditions to challenge the French. The Ohio Country was a symbol of imperial power and future prosperity. In 1753, Virginia's Governor Dinwiddie sent George Washington to warn the French to leave the Ohio Valley. Washington, only 21, delivered the message, but the French refused to withdraw. In 1754, Washington returned with a small force to build a fort at the forks of the Ohio. The French had already built Fort Duquesne. Washington's force skirmished with a French party, killing their commander, Jumonville. Washington retreated and built Fort Necessity. A larger French force surrounded the fort, forcing Washington to surrender. He unknowingly signed a document stating he had assassinated Jumonville. This inflamed tensions between Britain and France. These early encounters highlighted Britain's difficulties. Colonial forces were poorly trained and supplied. They struggled against experienced French soldiers and Native American allies. The dispute in the Ohio Valley could not be resolved peacefully. Both sides were committed to military force. The conflict was undeclared officially, but war had effectively begun. The drums of war were beating louder. Washington's actions set the stage for a larger conflict. The powder keg was ignited. The war had begun. Clashes in the Ohio Country sent ripples across the Atlantic. In 1755, Britain sent regular army troops to North America. Major General Braddock aimed to capture Fort Duquesne. Braddock underestimated French and Native American tactics. His expedition was ambushed near Fort Duquesne. The Battle of the Monongahela was a devastating defeat. Braddock was mortally wounded and his army retreated. This defeat exposed the British frontier's vulnerability. In 1756, Britain and France formally declared war. The 7 Years' War was a global conflict. Fighting occurred in North America, Europe, India, Africa, the Caribbean, and on the high seas. The French and Indian War was the North American theater. Early years of the war went badly for the British. The French achieved several victories. It seemed the French might win control of the continent. William Pitt the Elder rose to power in 1757. Pitt believed victory in North America was crucial. He declared he would win the war, whatever the cost. Pitt made North America the primary focus. He sent thousands more troops and increased financial support for colonial militias. He promoted talented commanders like James Wolfe and Jeffrey Amherst. Pitt used Britain's naval supremacy to blockade French ports. This prevented France from sending reinforcements. The Royal Navy transported British troops and supported land operations. Pitt's policies began to bear fruit in 1758. The British captured Louisbourg, opening the way to the St. Lawrence River. They took Fort Duquesne and renamed it Fort Pitt. These victories boosted British morale. Some Native American tribes began to side with the British. Pitt's strategy turned the tide of the war. The British gained the upper hand. The French were on the defensive. The momentum had shifted. The British planned to strike at the heart of New France. The main target for 1759 was Quebec. Quebec City was the capital of New France. The French commander Montcalm was determined to defend it. The British expedition was led by James Wolfe. The siege of Quebec lasted for several months. Wolfe bombarded the city and searched for a way to land his troops. In September, Wolfe's soldiers climbed a steep path up the cliffs. They assembled on the Plains of Abraham. Montcalm marched out to confront them. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham was short but decisive. The British forces defeated the French. Both Wolfe and Montcalm were mortally wounded. The British victory at Quebec was a devastating blow to French power. In 1760, the British advanced on Montreal. The French governor surrendered, and with it, all of Canada. The Treaty of Paris in 1763 ended the 7 Years' War. France lost almost all of its colonial possessions in North America. France ceded Canada and territories east of the Mississippi River to Britain. Britain gained Florida from Spain. France gave Spain the Louisiana Territory. France retained only a few small islands. The treaty marked a stunning victory for Britain. Britain emerged as the dominant colonial power in North America. Its territory now stretched from Hudson Bay to the Gulf of Mexico. This expansion brought new opportunities and challenges. For France, the treaty was a humiliating defeat. Its influence in North America was extinguished. The loss of Canada was particularly bitter. The treaty reshaped political boundaries and future development. The European imperial landscape was fundamentally altered. The French and Indian War had far-reaching consequences. For Britain, the victory came at a tremendous cost. The war had been incredibly expensive. Britain's national debt had nearly doubled. The British government faced the challenge of managing a larger empire. Administering this vast area required new policies and financial resources. For American colonists, the war had a complex impact. The removal of the French threat opened up new possibilities for expansion. However, the war changed their relationship with Britain. Colonists resented British military discipline and requisitions. Native American tribes lost a crucial ally and trading partner. British colonists were eager to move into Native American territories. The British government tried to regulate westward settlement. The Proclamation of 1763 forbade colonial settlement west of the Appalachians. Colonists saw it as an infringement on their rights. The British government imposed new taxes, leading to strong resistance. The French and Indian War reshaped North America. It eliminated French competition, leaving Britain dominant. The vast new territories required administration. The enormous war debt needed to be paid. The British government believed the American colonies should contribute. This perspective was not shared by many colonists. Attempts to raise revenue through taxes sparked protest. Colonists argued no taxation without representation. The British government believed in parliamentary sovereignty. This fundamental disagreement fueled alienation. The war changed the military situation. Colonists felt less dependent on British protection. The British decision to keep a standing army was viewed with suspicion. The war set the stage for the American Revolution. Less than 2 decades later, 13 colonies declared independence.